growth of the garments industry in Bangladesh. As you all know, the garments industry of Bangladesh is the largest export earning sector that we have, and it is making up almost 78% of our foreign currency earnings. If this industry does not use sustainable energy practices, we will not be able to make it grow up to the $50 billion target that our Prime Minister has set. Now, I am the managing director of the B2P Group. It was set up in 1968. We have been working towards developing a more caring, a more socially conscious company over the years. It was set up by my father, Reza Ali, former member of parliament and the chairman of our company. B2P means a tree. It is run by our family, my brother, my sister, and myself. My sister looks after our media business, B2P advertising, and my brother and I look after the operations of the factory. We have been in the media business since 1968, apparel since 1984, and aquaculture since 2002. The media business covers the full range of services, advertising, event management, and so on, media buying. In the apparel sector, we have principally 4 factories. 2 of these factories are LEED Platinum certified. One of them, Remy Holdings Limited, is the highest rated LEED Platinum factory in the world right now. I should mention here that Bangladesh today has 250 factories which have signed up for LEED certification. Out of this, 33 have already gotten certified. Out of 33 factories, 13 factories have come with LEED Platinum. And out of that, 7 of the highest rated factories in the world are in Bangladesh. This is our original factory. This is where our head office and design centers are. And this is our factory in Manikganj. This is a LEED Platinum factory. This was built in 2006, between 2006 to 2008. We had later converted the factory to a green factory. That just goes to show that it is possible to take old factories in Bangladesh and then now convert them to new ones, to more sustainable ones. This is Remy Holdings Limited. This is the video that we just showed you earlier. This is our factory in Kumilla, EPZ. This is our design studio. In our company, we do a lot of work with a lot of customers in Europe and in the US, and most of it is with our own designs. We have the latest technology in our factory, automatic cutting, automated sewing machinery, hanger systems for moving the garments around the factory. We have conveyors which move the cartons around the plant, which is a very big plant that we have. This is our washing plant. Now, when we are talking about the garments industry, which is a $28 billion industry in this country, one of the principal areas of energy consumption is actually in the washing plant. As you can see from this washing plant, this is an operational factory, but it's actually dry. You have very little water around on the floor. It is a question of choosing the right machines and having the plant organized in a way that does not waste energy. Now, we have a lot of worker welfare initiatives. We have daycare centers, we have a full-time doctor, ambulances, eye camps, as well as fair price shops. We do regular fire drills for all our workers, and we also work with the government in the hiring of disabled workers in our factories. We want to promote the hiring of disabled workers in the garments industry because we believe that this will give them an opportunity to have a proper living and an independent livelihood. Now, we work with a lot of different organizations. We work with UNICEF, ILO, USAID, the PACT, which is the IFC World Bank project on cleaner textile. Now I want to talk about the environmental side, which is what really we are here for. This is our incinerator boiler. Every garments factory produces a lot of waste. A lot of it is cotton waste. What we do is we use an incinerator boiler, we burn the waste, and we produce steam. This incinerator boiler actually runs my finishing section. All the ironing that we do, because I make trousers, all the ironing that we do for our trousers is actually done with the steam that is generated from that boiler. This is a biogas plant. And through these different organizations, we have learned, and everything that we have learned, we have now tried to apply in our factories to reduce the the carbon footprint that we have in this industry. What we discovered was that each one of our factories every day has 400 kilograms of solid food waste from lunch, from the workers' lunch. And we started, rather than burying it in the ground, we started using it to make biogas with which we run cooking stoves. And that is we reusing the waste, we can reduce the impact on the environment. We use skylights in all of our factories. Now, these skylights were imported from the US. They're prismatic skylights. What they do is that they diffuse the light. Rather than focusing a narrow beam, they diffuse the light throughout the space. And it greatly reduces the amount of electrical light we have to use in our factory in daytime. Building management system. Now, one of the things that whenever we talk about reducing the energy impact of our businesses, without measuring what we are doing, you cannot reduce your impact. And the only way you can actually measure what you're doing is if you have a building management system, which involves sensors being put into just about every part of the factory, where we can measure all the water flowing into the effluent treatment plant, the water flowing out of it, how much gas we are using, how much gas we are burning, what pressure we are burning the boiler at, what level of efficiency we are burning the boiler at, where are we using our ventilation systems, and also managing our electrical load in the factory. Condensate recovery system. This is a very simple initiative. With this, you can actually, when you're driving around in Bangladesh, in China, in Vietnam, in any country, you will see that there are plumes of steam coming out behind factories. One of the ways you can recover that is to use the condensate and then use that for hot water and reduce your boiler use. Thermal oil. Using thermal oil boilers, we have reduced by 50% the size of the gas-fired boiler that we needed previously. From a 10-ton boiler, I've gone to a 5-ton boiler. Using thermal oil, we can reduce the usage of gas in the garment sector by a significant percentage. And the investment pays off within a very reasonable period of time. LED lights. Again, this is a known technology. We are all aware of it. There is a clear financial payback. With the current electrical tariffs, the payback on LED lights is very quick, and it is a very simple thing to put in all our factories. Servo motors. Traditionally, the motor on a sewing machine, even when the needle is not down, even when the machine is not actually being operated, but the machine is switched on, the motor is continuously running, and that is using up electricity. If you have a servo motor, that's a start and stop. Whenever the needle is up, which is about 60% of the time, the machine is actually stopped. It does not consume any electricity. When it does start, it starts at a higher torque, which is actually better for our quality, for the sewing. This we have retrofitted into all our old machines as well. We have all the new machines we buy are with servo motors, and we have retrofitted that into all our old machines at the same time. Effluent treatment plant. Now, this is a standard requirement for every garments factory in Bangladesh, which has wet processing, where we do any processing with water. But our effluent treatment plant is a little bit different. We have a nano-catalyst electro-oxidization technology. The advantage of this technology is that it uses less space. Traditional activated sludge, advanced activated sludge biological treatment plant uses much more space than this because you need more time for the sludge to settle. This uses less space, and it gives you water which is complying to the Bangladesh and WHO standards. At the same time, it gives you colorless water. And that is a very important point because without colorless water, you cannot recycle it back into the factory. If there's any color in the water at all, that water is unusable, even if it complies to the discharge standards of the Ministry of Environment. High volume, low velocity fans. These we imported from the US. Each one of these does the work of about 200 ceiling fans. We have 6 of them in the factory. With these being installed, you hardly need to have any ceiling fans anywhere else. Any large space, for example, this space, could use a high volume, low velocity fan very easily. rainwater harvesting. We have plenty of rain in this country, and rather than letting it all run down the drain, we can use that water and we use it for the washing plant, for the fire hydrant, for gardening, for domestic use, and all the other purposes. We have replaced all our 400-watt halogen lamps with 15-watt solar-powered LED street lights. This, again, has been one of the fastest paybacks that we have had on any of our energy initiatives. The energy-efficient fans. The normal ceiling fans we have in Bangladesh consume 80 watts of electricity. These consume only 35. Again, clear financial payback, very easy to implement, no additional work involved, and the benefits of it are clear. These were imported because we don't make 35-watt fans in Bangladesh. Hot water recovery system, we are recovering 30 cubic meters per hour of water every day through the boiler exhaust and the flash steam. Again, this is something which is known technology and can be applied in any factory in Bangladesh. Solar power. This is our existing solar power plant. This is a 125 kilowatts roof-mounted solar power plant in our Adamji factory. With this, we are covering about 45% of our entire electrical requirement for the sewing floor every day. We have been running this plant for the last 1 year with no problems at all. The plant obviously comes with a software support system, and that tells us how much CO2 we have saved, how much energy we have saved, how much money we have saved. For example, since I took this slide, we have saved 72,000 kilowatt hours of electricity by simply having the rooftop power plant. Now, the investment on it, given the current scenario in Bangladesh, the return is 6.85 years, almost 7 years. 7 years is too long for investment. We have done it as a test case, but if you were to look at a bigger project, 7 years would be too long. And this is what we need to address. Now, the project that we are working on is for our Manikganj factory. We have done a feasibility study, which was carried out by Deloitte in conjunction with the IFC and the World Bank for putting in a 781 kilowatt hour roof-mounted solar power plant. The estimated budget for this is about $1.5 million. We are in the stage of vendor selection at this moment, and we will be working on this project for the next couple of years. The problem with this, though, is that the arrangement of funding is still a challenge. The interest rate is too high. The mortgage issue for the loan is a factor. The repayment of solar power projects are considered on the same basis as commercial projects, which is a disincentive for putting in solar power. And of course, it's a simple fact, which is not mentioned in the slide. When you look at the graph of my solar power consumption, there's a drastic rise in the output of the solar panels in the middle of the day between 12 o'clock and 2 o'clock. But at the same time, there's a opposite fall in consumption. That is because 12 to 2 is lunchtime. All across the factory, our people are going to lunch. My consumption is falling. I'm losing that output. I need to be able to sell it back to the grid. Otherwise, it will not be feasible. Now, this is a summary of all the investments that we have done. Now, for example, the biogas plant, we're looking at a return of 23 years. That is not something which was done for a fiscal reason, but it was more done for a management purpose because waste disposal was becoming a problem. However, when we're looking at the LED lights, it's only 1.5 years. That is a reasonable amount of time to make a small investment to reduce your electrical consumption by a massive amount. Servo motors are even better. In just over 6 months' time, you can recover all your money. Through these initiatives, in our group, we have reduced our water consumption by 30%. This is also, to a great extent, due to the machinery selection that we have done. I'll give you another example. By changing the machines that you use in the washing plant from the flat belly loading to the front loading that we have in our factory, you reduce your water consumption, your chemical consumption, your steam consumption. At the same time, when you reduce your water consumption, your effluent treatment plant can actually become smaller because you're putting less water to be treated. Your water treatment plant also becomes smaller because you need less water to begin with. The benefits of using advanced technology in terms of machinery are manifold. We are also, our Adamji EPZ factory is zero liquid discharge. We are recycling all 85% of the water at this stage back into the factory to use in the washing plant. We hope through further adjustments of the treatment mechanism, which the mechanism being reverse osmosis, we will be able to recycle 95% of the water. We have reduced our power consumption by 40%, and our waste is 100% recycled. All food waste goes into the biogas, all solid waste goes into the incinerator. We discharge nothing. We work with most of the big companies in Europe, Benetton, H&M, Zara, Inditex, these are all our customers. Our buyers are all taking the sustainability of this industry, government's policies on sustainability, and government policies on water management as the key areas for their continued business in Bangladesh. If we want the garments industry to continue to prosper in Bangladesh, to continue to be the vehicle for growth and prosperity for the millions of people who work in this industry, our government and our civil society must come together to develop the policies which makes it financially justifiable for more factories like ours to change their way of working and to put in more sustainable long-term growth plans. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Miran Ali. Actually, we are proud of our Remy Holdings as it's the highest ranked, I mean, platinum awarded, and with highest mark. Perhaps it is 97? 97. So, on behalf of the Ministry of Power, Energy and Mineral Resources, and particularly from SREDA, Sustainable and Renewable Energy Development Authority, we once again appreciate and congratulate Remy Holdings. Thank you very much for your nice presentation. And now we'll go for another presentation. This is from Mr. Tanzim Chowdhury. He's Assistant General Manager, Omara Petroleum Limited. And you know, Omara Petroleum Limited is one of the leading company in Bangladesh in the LPG sector. So, and also Mr. Tanzim Chowdhury, very young entrepreneur, very potential young entrepreneur. And may I request Mr. Tanzim Chowdhury to start your presentation. Thank you very much.
Hello. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Energy and Power Fair 2016. Thank you for joining us, and a very good evening to you all. I am Tanzim Chowdhury, Assistant General Manager at Omara Petroleum Limited and Omara Fuels Limited. And today I'll be presenting on innovation in energy distribution. And this is how we are distributing energy to the industrial sectors and retail markets of Bangladesh. First of all, I would like to have a round of applause for the Omara team for winning the best private sector corporation in Bangladesh in the energy sector 2016. And a round of applause for our colleagues. It's only been 2 years into our journey, and we're very happy to see that we're soaring to new heights in such a short amount of time. I'll start with giving a brief on our natural gas scenario, which is being produced in Bangladesh. We are not a natural gas importer, but we are producing our natural gas ourselves from mainly the Sylhet region. The gas fields are located in Sylhet. So there's been various studies by private sector and public sector on the natural gas reserves of Bangladesh. And right now we have around 28.4 TCF of natural gas. Hold on a second. Thank you, sir. Hello? Yes. Am I clear? So there's been various studies that shows that the natural gas reserve of Bangladesh is 28.4 trillion cubic feet, and 80 to 90% of that is recoverable. And the rest of that is under the sea, it is offshore. Therefore, we think, as an energy company, we think it is not recoverable. And with the rapid growth in our economy, the annual consumption of natural gas is around 1.5 TCF. Here we can see the major users of natural gas in Bangladesh. It starts with power generation, followed by captive power and industries. So captive power generation, and industries are the three top users of natural gas. So, as I've said 2 slides back, we have around 28 TCF of natural gas, out of which we have used around 8 TCF, and still we have around 12 trillion cubic feet, which will be used up in the next few years. The daily demand this is very subjective, but the daily demand is around 3,500 million cubic feet, and our approximate production capacity, I've checked also last night from Petrobangla, it's around 2,500 million cubic feet. The current shortage daily is around 1,000 cubic feet, and it's going to increase with our economic growth. And it's good to hear that Petrobangla has signed agreement for LNG terminal. This will bring down the shortfall of gas by 500 mmcf. And we have heard from the Honorable Secretary's speech that that will start from 2018. We have no more alternative rather than to explore our own reserves. BAPEX is engaged in upstream exploration, but their success has been marginal, as I would say. And presently, Chevron is the largest natural gas producer or extractor in Bangladesh. And also, we are looking for international oil companies to go for exploration. So going forward, the natural gas that we have and the ones we will import as LNG, it should be optimized and routed to the productive sectors only, like power generation, fertilizer industries. And domestic gas connection and use of CNG in vehicles should be discontinued with the gradual introduction of LPG and auto gas. And industries that are currently suffering from natural gas crisis should immediately shift to LPG. So this brings us to the focal point on what is LPG. LPG stands for liquefied natural gas. It is a byproduct of natural gas that is mainly produced in Arab Gulf. Now the US is becoming an exporter of LPG as well. It is a mixture of two chemicals, propane and butane, and it's liquefied through pressurization. There are several properties of LPG, and I need to be a chemical engineer, which I'm not, in order to go into it, but I'll just go through the basics. The density it's 2 times heavier than air. Its pressure is much, much lower than CNG. This makes it a lot safer to use. And flammability is 1.8% to 9.5% volume of gas in air. LPG requires up to 50 times of its own volume of air for having the complete fire combustion. It doesn't have any odor. We add the odor ourselves, or it is known as ethyl mercaptan. And it is not poisonous, but it is slightly toxic. LPG is safer than other burning fuels. It has no sulfur emission, highest energy content among all the cooking fuels, low carbon. It can also be used for decentralized electricity generation, and also it can be used as feedstock or in automotive industry. What are the common applications of LPG in Bangladesh? Mainly, right now it's being used as cooking fuels for households. It is used as cooking fuels for for hotels, commercial establishments, restaurants. It is also used as burning fuel for small to large scale industries. Also, we are supplying to garment factories through bulk tanks. I'm going to get there. LPG can also be used for power generation, captive power generation. And LPG can also be used as a replacement for petrol and octane. And it also is a fuel for aiding in construction, mainly in terms of welding, in shipyards, etc., etc. It's said that there's around more than 100 applications for LPG, but I'm happy I can list a few right now out of my head. So this is very important. What is the market scenario in the Bangladesh LPG? In 2015, the annual import of LPG was 135,000 tons. That was combined import of all the LPG importers. In 2016, this is right now, today is December. Now, we are in December now, and the annual import has already crossed 250,000 tons. This is an 85% year-on-year growth in the total import. 85%. And if we go through this trajectory, we are hoping that by 2020, that is 4 years from now, we'll reach 500,000 tons of LPG import. And the approximate number of LPG cylinders are 80 lakhs or 8 million, 80 lakhs 50,000. There are 6 major operators in Bangladesh, LPG operators. The first is Bosundhara. We are standing in Bosundhara Convention City. The second is Jamuna Gas. Third is us, Omera LPG. Fourth, BM Energy. We have Total Gas, Labs Gas, and last but not the least, BPC, which is the government LPG supplier. So even, we hear a lot that LNG, we will start getting LNG from 2018. But still, LPG is the major fuel for households and for automotive users because mostly natural gas in productive economies, in developed economies, natural gas is used by the productive sectors like power generation, fertilizer industries. So these are the major demand points of LPG in Bangladesh. The highest demand center is in Chittagong because it has all the industries and it doesn't have much natural gas access. It is losing pressure, followed by South Bengal, North Bengal, Jashore, and of course, North Dhaka and South Dhaka. So 2 slides back, I was talking about how there are 6 LPG operators in Bangladesh, and their import terminals are located in Chittagong and Khulna in Mongla. So LPG is imported to these terminals, and it is stored, and the LPG cylinders are filled within those terminal areas. So after the LPG cylinders are filled in Chittagong and Mongla, the operators send it by trucks, the cylinders to Dhaka, North Dhaka, South Bengal, Joshore. So this is a very, this has been used for a long time, but given the natural gas shortage, the LPG demand will increase exponentially. And this distribution method needs to be remodeled. Rather than bottling LPG in Chittagong and Khulna, we can move the refilling centers to areas such as Dhaka, or we can bring the refilling point to nearer to the demand centers and move the LPG in bulk. I might not be very clear. This concept might not be clear for you right now, but I'll explain in an easier method. So these bulk distribution models, Omera Petroleum, our team, we have mastered this, and we continue to invest in distribution channels, especially distribution infrastructure. So a bit about ourselves and how we are distributing LPG to retail markets. So Omera Petroleum Limited, we have an LPG import terminal. It is our annual supply capacity. Hello? I think time's up. Okay, so they'll still let me talk. The annual supply capacity of Omera is 100,000 metric tons. We have 3 satellite terminals, which are located near the major demand points. We have 1 LPG barge, and this barge is used to move bulk LPG to our demand centers, mainly Dhaka. And we have the massive road tanker fleet, which we use to deliver bulk LPG to our satellite terminals and also to big industrial users. Our filling plants are not only located in Chittagong and Khulna, they're located all across Bangladesh. We have plants in Chittagong, in Khulna, in North Bengal, in Ghorasal, and in Sylhet. We have our cylinder manufacturing plant. This is our LPG terminal located in Mongla Bagerhat. Our total storage capacity is 3,800 tons, and we can supply 8,000 cylinders per shift. We are one of the few terminals that is ISPS certified internationally. So every oil major knows our terminal, and we follow all the safety steps and the security steps. This is our satellite terminal located in Ghorasal. We use this terminal to supply LPG to Dhaka, which is one of the major demand points. The storage capacity is 450 metric tons, and the supply capacity is 8,000 cylinders. We use our LPG ship through the rivers of Bangladesh to ship the bulk LPG from Mongla to Dhaka. We have 2 more satellite plants, which is located in Mirsarai, Chittagong, and in Sherpur. Their respective storage capacity is 225 metric tons and 85 metric tons. Each plant can deliver 5,000 cylinders per day. And this is our star. This is our LPG barge, Omera Princess. It can carry 300 metric tons of LPG, first of its kind in the whole South Asia region. It is class certified by RINA, and as we are scaling up every day, we have ordered 2 more barges, which will be added to our fleet Q3 of next year. Altogether, we can move 300. Around 1,000. We can move around 1,000 metric tons of LPG every 2 days to Dhaka and Chittagong from Mongla. This is the power of bulk distribution. A bit on our cylinder manufacturing plant. We import highest grade HR coil or steel, and we have a semi-automatic production where we manufacture our own LPG cylinders. We manufacture 900 cylinders per shift, all sizes of LPG cylinders, and our factory is full automation using European machinery. This is a nice photo of our cylinders going through the welding machine. So how are we connecting to the lives of people? We have Omera branded ferries that are, anyone would say that we own this ferry, but this is actually branded as Omera. We use these ferries to show people that they have the supply of LPG, they have access to LPG when they're moving through the mighty rivers of Bangladesh, especially the Podda River, to the locations where there is no natural gas. We have 3 sizes of LPG cylinders. The small size is 5.5 kg. Our flagship size is 12 kg. And we have the 35 kg industrial cylinders. The height, I think it's up to here. This is a bus branding we did to connect to the sportsmanship during last year's BPL. We are promoting LPG use of healthier cooking fuels in rural Bangladesh. So till date, we have had around 20 months of operation. Within the 20 months, we have won the best energy company in private sector of Bangladesh. We have developed around 8,500 retail points across all channels of Bangladesh, including urban, semi-urban, rural, and we are developing newer pockets so we can further reach and deliver healthier cooking fuels to the rural areas. We have 150 distribution models and 60 exclusive outlets. So this was for how we are distributing LPG to the retail outlets. Now, besides the retail, as I was saying when I started my presentation, the second biggest user of LPG is the industrial sector. Due to shortage of natural gas, small, medium, big industries, everyone is facing shortage of energy for heating needs or shortage of energy for captive power generation. And we're happy to say that propane by itself and LPG can provide as a major fuel to support in these shortages. Last month, we have started a new company with, it's a joint venture with Japanese LPG giant Gas One. And we have named our joint venture as Omera Gas One. Under the Omera Gas One banner, we are providing engineering solutions, LPG engineering solutions for large-scale industries, for power plants as well, for captive power plants. For garment factories or for factories that need boilers, have a shortage of natural gas to fire their boilers, we can customize a bulk LPG storage, customized to their requirement, the size. We will put it in the garment factory's premises. It will be piped to the machinery and to the boilers. And our scope will be to deliver LPG to this tank and make sure there's uninterrupted supply of gas, of LPG 24 hours a day. Also, we are developing reticulated systems. It is a very, it sounds a rocket science term. Reticulated system, it's very simple. I would say it's simply like natural gas. Natural gas is piped to households through gas pipelines. The same concept we have brought to LPG. We will have an LPG tank in a place, suppose like Uttara third phase, or in Rajuk, and we will use this tank to distribute LPG through LPG pipelines to each house or each apartment. And our scope will be to make sure that the township or the housing establishment has access to LPG 365 days a year. We are working with real estate companies and also with Rajuk to develop this system. I'm sure by the next 2 to 3 years, we will be seeing this reticulated system coming into Bangladesh. Coming to autogas, we are constructing autogas stations to deliver LPG for automotive users, for cars and vehicles. We are supplying LPG conversion kits for cars. And of course, we have the biggest LPG terminal and the storage capacity as of now. And our massive road tanker fleet, we can use it to deliver uninterrupted bulk LPG 365 days a year. Also, as a part of our joint venture with the Japanese company Gas One, we have developed a 24-hour technical support team to provide technical support to our industrial users. So Omera Gas One is fueling business, and we have just started a month back, and we hope to have a big contribution to the industrial growth of Bangladesh. So I'll end my presentation with 2 videos. I'll request the media to start the first video, which shows our infrastructure, Omera infrastructure. And the second video is the Omera Gas One video. And could you start the first video, please? Hello? request to start the second video of Omera Gas 1. Thank you. This is our industrial offering to Bangladesh. Thank you for your time. If you have any questions related to industrial LPG or retail, we have our team on the left front table. They're happy to answer your questions. Thank you, everyone.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Tanjim Chaudhary, for your nice presentation, and also we are really proud of Omara LPG, Omara Petroleum Limited. And actually, time is very short, I should say. So I haven't received any written question. If there is any question from you, maybe one or two, because time is very short. Otherwise, we will call it a day. Okay? So, once again, thanking all of our distinguished ladies and gentlemen, distinguished audience, and also our two presenters, Mr. Miran Ali and Mr. Tanjim Chaudhary, will just go for calling it a day. Thank you very much for your participation. Thank you.